feels good to be better than the rest. Just kidding. That pumped me up. Crypto Fitness Challenge. Crypto Fitness Challenge was free, by the way. 100% free to enter the first Crypto Fitness Challenge. We're wrapping up here. Guys, that flew by like it was nothing, the 90-day fitness challenge. Are you kidding me? Biceps in the chat for the fitness challenge. Oh my God. Let's scroll up. Oh, my finger's getting cramped because I'm scrolling up so far. Okay. Who was first in the chat? Warden, you. I've been seeing you in here every day. You must be learning. Benny Blanco, great to see you. Monica, Mo, Fit Meals, Ruskino, Crypto Compassion. Great to see everyone in here. Nom nom, tea time. Stop what you're doing and smash that like button. Let's get this party started, guys. Smash that like button and retweet the tweet that I just posted below so you can go into the gates of heaven with all of the animals. Chad, Donner Schwans. Good morning, Kings. Hexagon Tattooer. Who will put the first tattoo on Jim Rat Crypto? Jim Rat Crypto is a tattoo virgin. 0 tattoos. If Hex goes to $1, I will slap some sort of flippin' tattoo on myself. So you can clip that right there. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. That could be trouble. Hopefully, R23, great to see you in here. Everybody, great to see you. I just wanted to say hi to the chat because last night I was talking to Jack, and I've been trying to do better with the chat, but when Sam's not here, the chat goes bye-bye. Bye. Like, no chat. If Sam's not here and it's in the morning, no chat. No chat. I'm sorry. That's my rule. But if Sam is here, chat. Simple as that. And Sam's usually here, so it's like a fucking 99.1% rate at this point. Let's transition now. Okay, if you're new, blah blah blah. Everyone, episode starts now, guys. What are we talking about today? A lot of really, really important stuff today. Like everything that pretty much top to bottom, very important, high detailed, critical information. We're starting with the basics though, so we can kind of round everyone in to the lesson of the day. The lesson of the day would be tornado cash. Would you like to have nobody know where any of your money goes ever? Of course you would. So would I. Do I want nobody to know anything about my funds because they're mine? Correct. Do I want to not pay extra stupid taxes just because I hold money and I'm standing in a specific piece of land? No, I do not. I don't want to have to leave the United States either, and I will. And it's annoying. I'm not saying I'll do that in the next year or two, but you never know. Anyway, so we're going from anonymity, blockchain technology, basics. I want to teach you about a blockchain. What is it? Let's get into it. And then we're going to go into tornado cash. All right, guys, I'm talking too much, guys. Crypto in the morning, biceps in the chat, retweet the tweet.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
Yo, what's Gucci? What's Gucci? It's good to see you, brother. It's good to be back. I hope you had an awesome stream with Jack last night. And some of these fundamental basics around blockchain and tornado cash are going to be interesting, right? Because we're going to be using those things, so it'd probably be a good
Well, they
idea
get
to understand that
overlooked.
shit. Yeah, they
get
do.
overlooked.
And you can track, like I'm transferring money from Coinbase to my Treasure, right? And when I do that, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, it'd probably be a good idea to get one more step away, because Coinbase could technically track where I send it to, even though they don't know where it's going.
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, if Coinbase touches my stuff, I assume it's doxed. Like I mean, for the time being, I'm just gonna tell everyone where I'm at. I'm not really anonymous. I mean, I'm anonymous to people. I have a few addresses that people don't know, but as far as my bank is concerned, I am not anonymous. Period. End of story. And I've always known that since I used Coinbase, and I put in all my information. I have to grab a sweatshirt. Please just keep talking. I just got to grab right there.
Cool. So this is going to be what's up, crypto performance PLS. What's good? It's going to be interesting. I would like to do a video where I am actually using Tornado Cash to see what it is like, because I think of a lot of the stuff, whether it's Tornado Cash or anything in crypto or anything in life, you can try to describe that to somebody who doesn't know what it's like, but that's like me trying to describe what sex is like, and if I've never had sex, right? Like that's what happens a lot on the internet. That's what happens in school and stuff like that. But
it's an emotional thing when you connect with information. Like, if you have to connect with the information, like just like you have to connect emotionally with like a chick or whatever, like, you know, you could explain to a sixth grader, like you said, like, there it is, that's how it goes. But like, you have all these feelings and you just like, oh, how does this happen? Oh my God, what does it look like? What does it feel like? And then you do it and you're just like, you do it a couple hundred times and then you're just like back to normal life, you know, like back to different stimulus, back to something else. Get it over with a lot of this stuff in life. I tell people that about dating too and stuff. Like, get it over with, get it out of your system, because it's stupid as fuck. It's dumb. Period. You can meet nice people and go on dates. That's not what the dating culture is anymore. It's just like a retarded masturbation session.
I was in that realm for a number of years. Just I wouldn't call it dating. It was just sleeping around. I wouldn't even try to pretend that it was dating. It was like, I'm just here to sleep with this person, and that's it, right? And if that's not what they want, perfectly fine. But like, that's not what I want, so I'm moving on. And it was like, I need to stop this. Not because of anything bad that I was doing necessarily, but it was like slowing me down. It's a distraction from other things that I want to accomplish in life. And just by doing that, it was just, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this is taking away the mental focus that I have from those other things that I could be pushing.
Yeah, but how do you get rid of the emotions? You just had to do it a bunch real quick. You know what I mean? Like, because you would always, if you only fucked once, you'd always be curious to the point where it was bothering you. It was an itch you had to scratch. And you would, it's just how it is. It's like, until I scratched that itch, I could not get on with my life. Period. I just that was me though. That was me. I'm not saying everyone's like gets hung up like I do. I get hung the fuck up on all sorts of shit, like video games, gambling. So like, I'm an extreme example potentially, like, of someone who's on, like, I have big swings in that.
Why don't people? Because I agree. We see, like, I've seen friends, right? They got married relatively young, which is perfectly fine. Like, if they're happy, fucking kudos, right? But to your point, though, right? They may have slept with like one person, and now they are like questioning it or that kind of thing. So
because they're not risk takers, they didn't take risks. I take risk every day of my life. I never worried about the fucking. I was like, oh, but this is gonna suck. Oh, this might happen. Oh, she might dump me. I've always taken the risk because I just get it the fuck over with. Teach me.
But why don't people get hung up on just making their lives better?
Because they're emotionally worried about the thing we were just talking about, dude. I'm telling you, when you secretly have something that you haven't accomplished in your life, you can't move on. You can't move on.
But people can do the same fucking thing with their fucking lives, though. But they don't get
no. But I'm saying for guys, it starts with sex. To be honest, when you're a kid, like, that's what it is. A lot of times, it's like when you're in middle school, what do you care about? Girls, video games.
It was like money and girls,
right? And then you get older, and then. So imagine having this thing you've been obsessed with since you were 16. And guys, if this is touching touching you in the thing, and I'm not coming at anyone. This is every man's experience to a degree, something along these lines. But when I was a kid, I didn't think about anything. I did not stop thinking about sex until I was done with it, and that was about 2 years ago, or like a year ago, or like when I still have on and off whatever's with it, but it has nothing to do with my life's mission and purpose anymore. Where before it was my life's mission and purpose, and I have a feeling. And again, an extreme example because I get a little overwhelmed with stuff, but I have a feeling if I didn't do that, what I did to this day, I would still be doing what I was doing before, which was correct to a lot of people. Like I was working constantly, dating constantly. Really what I was doing is being an inefficient dumb fuck. Everything I was doing was inefficient and it all was emotional. It was silly. Now I'm just sitting here like, oh, if I'd like to go on a date and do something, if I'd like to go with my girl, I could schedule that into the future. But the majority of my time, I'm going to be sitting here working because there's nothing else I'd like to accomplish anymore. Before there was something I wanted to accomplish. It was making sure that I wasn't going to freaking be like a sexless virgin. I guess that's what, whatever it was. And that reality could have been true for me. I was not a stout young man.
We homeschooled, bro. I wasn't even allowed to date.
Oh shit, dude! I can't even imagine, bro.
I wasn't allowed to date. So as soon as I was, my mom kicked me out, so I moved in with my dad, and it was just like a revolving door. Like,
I might have just gotten way too real for the people. We're talking about crypto, guys.
Yeah,
we're talking about crypto. I might have gotten way too real, way too quick, guys. 21 minutes in, we start the show, and we're starting it right now. That was fun though. So I'm going to pull this video up and let it play. Sam, if you want to pause it, just say so and I'll pause it, at any moment. So if you want to pause it and just like mention something, infer something, again, I want people to learn this. So like if you feel free to infer something that you might think would be insightful.
Right before we just get into this, I think highlighting why it's important because we're going, and we've said this before, but we're going through gargantuan shift of wealth that the world has never seen before.
Where we mean digital numbers. It's a shift in numbers on screen.
Shift, yes, correct. But the people who own those the people behind those numbers are shifting, right? They're shifting, and this is going to be this is the biggest monumental shift in history. This is like the internet in 1999, say 2003, right? This is the internet in 1999 to 2003 period, right? We have a fuckload of projects launching, a lot of scams launching. We're
really trying on the F-bombs. We're trying hard. I did it like 5 times too, but yours has so much meaning when you say it.
Fudge.
You don't sneak them in there. You're like...
So the idea that if you can slightly grasp that the internet has allowed you to watch and listen right now, and back in 2000, most people, 99.9% of people underestimated the internet's capability and how it was going to change and impact the world. We are living through the same thing, except for in terms of the connectedness, it is in terms of, I just caught myself there, money. I was going to say money, but it's in terms of money now. We're switching financial systems and you're living through it. This is why it's great to understand this stuff. So GRC found this video that explains blockchain very, very simply, and we're going to dive into it. So I think this will be super interesting.
You can't learn things unless you know what the fuck's going on. If you can't explain to me what's going on, then get the fuck out of the conversation.
Ooh, Fed minutes coming out today, bro.
What's that?
The
rate?
Yeah, they're coming out. I think
my phones. Let me hold on. I want to make sure.
I think it comes out. Let us know in the comments, guys. I think it comes out at 2 p.m. EST later today. Also, and I apologize. I know we're going to get into this video. The White House released a paper, and it sounds like they're trying to, just like they did with this pandemic shit, they're trying to change the definition of what a recession is. Because
I saw that. I read that this morning. That was interesting. Oh, we'll get pull something up on your end on that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll play this video.
These videos aren't that long. We got to get into this. This is a 5-minute and 59-second video, guys. You can rewatch this damn video yourself if you don't understand. I'm just gonna run it once. There is a rewind button. This is something you have to start to wrap your head around. Now, again, I'm gonna tell you guys, it takes time to even get to the point where you can wrap your head around this. So just again, it's a process. Keep staring at the screen, boys. If you don't feel like you're in position, a lot of these guys know exactly what the fuck's going on. But for the some of them, just keep watching. Trust me, keep watching. You will learn it. But people trick you into thinking you have to be smart to learn. No, you just have to stare. I'm on a roll. And now I'm not.
How do they work? What problems do they solve? And how can they be used? Like the name indicates, a blockchain is a chain of blocks that contains information. This technique was originally described in 1991 by a group of researchers and was originally intended to timestamp digital documents so that it's not possible to backdate them or to tamper with them, almost like a notary. However, it went by mostly unused until it was adapted by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009 to create the digital cryptocurrency Bitcoin. Now, a blockchain is a distributed ledger that is completely open to anyone. They have an interesting property. Once some data has been recorded inside a blockchain, it becomes very difficult to change it. So how does that work? Well, let's take a closer look at a block. Each block contains some data, the hash of the block, and the hash of the previous block. The data that is stored inside a block depends on the type of blockchain. The Bitcoin blockchain, for example, stores the details about a transaction in here, such as the sender, receiver, and the amount of coins. A block also has a hash. You can compare a hash to a fingerprint. It identifies a block and all of its contents, and it's always unique, just as a fingerprint. Once a block is created, its hash is being calculated. Changing something inside the block will cause the hash to change. So in other words, hashes are very useful when you want to detect changes to blocks. If the fingerprint of a block changes, it no longer is the same block. The third element inside each block is the hash of the previous block. And this effectively creates a chain of blocks, and it's this technique that makes a blockchain so secure. Let's take an example. Here we have a chain of 3 blocks. As you can see, each block has a hash and the hash of the previous block. So block number 3 points to block number 2, and number 2 points to number 1. Now the first block is a bit special. It cannot point to previous blocks because, well, it's the first one. We call this block the genesis block. Now let's say that you tamper with the second block. This causes the hash of the block to change as well. In turn, that will make block 3 and all following blocks invalid because they no longer store a valid hash of the previous block. So changing a single block will make all following blocks invalid. But using hashes is not enough to prevent tampering. Computers these days are very fast and can calculate hundreds of thousands of hashes per second. You could effectively tamper with a block and recalculate all the hashes of other blocks to make your blockchain valid again. So to mitigate this, blockchains have something that is called proof of work. It's a mechanism that slows down the creation of new blocks. In Bitcoin's case, it takes about 10 minutes to calculate the required proof of work and add a new block to the chain. This mechanism makes it very hard to tamper with the blocks because if you tamper with one block, you'll need to recalculate the proof of work for all the following blocks. So the security of a blockchain comes from its creative use of hashing and the proof of work mechanism. But there is one more way that blockchains secure themselves, and that is by being distributed. Instead of using a central entity to manage the chain, blockchains use a peer-to-peer network and everyone is allowed to join. When someone joins this network, he gets a full copy of the blockchain. The node can use this to verify that everything is still in order. Now, let's see what happens when someone creates a new block. That block is sent to everyone on the network. Each node then verifies the block to make sure that it hasn't been tampered with. And if everything checks out, Each node adds this block to their own blockchain. All the nodes in this network create consensus. They agree about what blocks are valid and which aren't. Blocks that are tampered with will be rejected by other nodes in the network. So, to successfully tamper with a blockchain, you'll need to tamper with all the blocks on the chain, redo the proof of work for each block, and take control of more than 50% of the peer to peer network. Only then will your tampered block become accepted by everyone else. So, this is almost impossible to do. Blockchains are also constantly evolving. One of the most recent developments is the creation of smart contracts. These contracts are simple programs that are stored on the blockchain and can be used to automatically exchange coins based on certain conditions. More on smart contracts in a later video. The creation of blockchain technology piqued a lot of people's interest. Soon others realized that this technology could be used for other things, like storing medical records, creating a digital notary, or even collecting taxes. So now you know what a blockchain is, how it works on a basic level, and what problems it solves. Want to learn how you can implement a simple blockchain in JavaScript? Then check out this video here.
No,
And as
bitch.
always, thank you very much for watching.
Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. Very, very simply put, broken down, because when you try to describe, say, blockchain to say,
I just hate. I don't even say the fucking words anymore. I just keep the words out of my. I'm like, you know what? Like something they could write stuff down on, like a piece of paper. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, now you know, on a computer you could do that too. And they have one, and nobody owns it, and it just automatically works, and it's very transparent. Like that's it. Like because the blockchains are just like, what kind of rocket science is this? Like it just makes and they think like, you know how many times in my head I can just hear my brother. He's like, he would always tell me like, you're not some big brain, like you're not some smart guy, like, and I would always say to myself like, it's the last thing that I think you have to be is a smart guy. Like I never even thought you have to be a smart guy. It always pissed me off because it's a limiting belief.
yes.
It's just a limiting belief thinking that there's some sort of smart calibration, like three people sit next to each other and the smart ones just end up good. No, does nothing. Most people do nothing. The smart ones do nothing. The valid, well, I don't want to say any specifics because I don't know who watches this show, but there's
the people,
everyone knows those smart people that end up playing fucking video games and jerking off all day and doing jack shit, but they were way smarter than you in school, weren't they?
Yes. Everyone
knows that. It's just about the people that have something to want to move forward towards, and they just everyone wants to trick you into thinking small. Think small. Don't do anything crazy. Think small. And it's normal. It's autopilot. I don't judge people for doing it anymore. I just don't listen to it, frankly. But
when I hear people, talking shit, it's sad in the sense that like people don't realize that the words that are coming out of their mouth, as in like your brother saying, hey, you're not smart, or whatever the case is in terms of insinuating stuff like that. It's really them just talking about themselves. And I feel bad for these people. Like, could you imagine?
It's not even like they're smart. It's like don't be open-minded is basically what they're telling you. Like, don't think, don't just do what you're supposed to do. Like, I don't even know how to act around them sometimes because I'm like, am I supposed to be like the guy that I feel like I am, or like the guy that is nice, or like better for them? Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you move so far away from the reality of normal people, and I'm not talking about like money or brains or anything. Just like what I do, everything I do is a lot different than other people. I'm single. I do whatever the fuck I want. I go to the gym in the morning. I eat healthy. I do whatever the fuck I want, basically. And most people can't relate to the freedom that I carry around. Like, they can't relate, right? Like, I'm going to look at you and be like, oh, you're rich, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, no, you're a slave because you have to work all day long and do everything you're told, buddy. And I don't have to do shit. And I'm like, and I'm 28. You know what I mean? And to me, that's what I wanted, though. That's what I wanted specifically. It's not that's what everybody wants. Like, I wanted that feeling because I know for me, that's where great work can come from. It can't come from the place of like, I remember my dad back when I was on his payroll would just be like, I bet you guys can't wait till Friday to get your paychecks or whatever. And I was like, I have never once looked at my bank account. I remember saying that. I hadn't even looked at my bank account. Seriously, for months. I knew there was enough money in there. Never looked at it. Never cared. Remember how I have that one track mind? Like for me, like I was on the girl thing at the time. Like I was funding a project at the time, and that was the project. And it's crazy. That's how I like to do things. Like I'm just funding this. Like, you know, everyone on the feet just thinks I'm trying. They literally will tell me I'm trying to copy Richard Hart. Like my brother literally looked at me and he was like, "You're just trying to copy Richard Hart." And I know.
And what is it? What in which way?
I don't know. No, it's because I took a picture with my brother's with my friend's Bronco and I posted it. He's like, "You're pretending that's your Bronco," and I was like, "It was a Shield Masters ad. I had a fucking shield in my hand. Is it literally a fucking giant war shield? Like, you know what I mean?" And it's just dealing with these negative things, and then everyone telling me that I'm the negative one. You know, like
you got to not be around those people, bro.
Well, I mean, they admit their faults too. You know,
yeah,
but I mean, like as we grow to, I've also had it past where I was like fucking lying to everyone constantly.
No, correct,
right? Yeah. So it's like I kind of double lifed them a little bit because I grew a lot and I wasn't talking to them much about it.
Bro, I was in jail for 6 months.
Right.
I got arrested. I was in jail. Went to court, right, and I spent 6 months in there. And I don't give a fuck who it is. They're negative and just making excuses. Cool, I love you, but like you can live your own fucking life.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of how. And we're not pushy. Nobody's pushy. They're not pushy with me at all. You know, we're all very like independent. You know what I mean? Like when I say we're all hanging out like once a month or like once get some dinner here and there or something like this. I don't do anything with anyone, if you want me to be quite honest. And it hurts me sometimes. I had a friend of mine call me this morning and basically tell me I was fucking we were joking around, of course. But he was like, "Are we even friends anymore?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't have fucking friends right now." Like that's what I told him. I was like, "I don't have friends right now." And I didn't know if he took that hard or he probably didn't. He probably was just like, yeah, being a one track mind. Like people know me.
Because that's who one of the guys you used to go out partying with.
No, this was like my AA sponsor, like best friend kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, but again, he knows me. I get like this, and it's just the way I am.
There's nothing wrong with that, dude. Absolutely.
I don't know what else to do. It's just how when I wake up, it's just what goes on.
I'm in the same boat. Like I've been in that boat for a while. Like I talk to a lot of people, but I'm not like going there chilling or hanging out with people or just like calling people for fun. You know what I mean? It's just not in my book. It's not what I can find super interesting.
I only have so much emotional energy while I work and while I do stuff. And it's like, if I want to keep my house clean, my nutrition decent, my workout routine decent, and be streaming every day, I was like, that's what I'm going to be doing, so if anyone wants to catch me, just, text me. Don't fucking call me, please. Don't fucking call me. And I'm not saying anyone who I've talked to on the phone, but like, if you call me out of nowhere, I'm just I get 100. I'm freaking 28. I don't phone calls. There's no phone calls. I don't do phone calls. I only do FaceTimes and like in meetings.
I even my family a lot of times won't call. Well, there's missed calls. I don't just pick up the phone a lot. Like I'm doing.
But I only do it for people that There's a couple of people that I talk to on the phone, but in general, I'm just not used to being on the phone. So I don't think of this as like, oh, I hate you, so I don't call people. I've never written a check. I'm not like Mr. sitting on the phone all day long. So. And now I'm getting like 150 DMs a day about, maybe not.
Yeah, which is a beautiful, it's an awesome thing.
It's a beautiful thing, but I don't know how to do it without being like, I just not gonna say anything. So that's it. That's what ends up happening. So I'm sorry. And if I know I DM people explosively too, and I never expect them to answer. So I kind of just.
Bro, you know how many DMs that I still have to work through? It's part of life, bro. Like you'll get to it when you get to it, if you get to it, and if you don't get to it, you don't get to it, and it is what it is.
Yeah, like, Nicholas Reed. Just before we move on, this is it. Like we're done with the conversation after this. He's like, this is what I did. I knew I had a one-track mind. I knew it could be explosively dangerous for me to do random ass shit. I really did. Like at a young age, I was like, I will be a drug addict if I do certain things. Like if I go into certain fields, right? Like if I want to be a some sort of singer or some shit, like I can assume that lifestyle is going to make me do drugs probably for me. So I knew, I was like, now I'm noticing like I can just direct it towards the exact opposite. I can direct it towards being powerful through working and changing people's lives with work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier, frankly. It's
Mm-hmm.
more fun too. So let's get into the tornado cash section of this. So
and then a little preview for what we can cover after this if we have enough time. I pulled up the stuff on the White
these
House.
were short.
Yeah, I pulled up the stuff on the White House and how the White House is trying to change the definition, just like the Webster Dictionary is changing the definition of what male is or what female is, and all the garbage just to fit their narrative. Right? Pay attention, guys. Going through a very interesting time in the world.
Interesting, and I'm willing to come on at any moment to cover anything that's like fucking pressing, crazy, hot news. So if you guys know anything that's popping off, and I might be in a bathroom break or at the gym or something, you hit my DMs and you remind me, because then I'll be coming home ASAP, see what I could cover, whether that's a Richard Hart stream or like some sort of media news that's going bonkers. Because I'm gonna take the next couple months and just chill at the desk.
Yes. Cool. Let's get into this video on tornado cash. Our understanding of it while you're.
Let me know if there's any lag, because I'm doing it. I'm gonna see if it comes on my other. If you
want to stay informed on crypto, you need to save on the social time. Alone but not alone. We are with you, CI. Feeling what GRC is living. Yes, right. We're maybe physically not in the presence of other people, but at the same time, I'm having a beautiful conversation with GRC every day. Like,
I know, I have amazing conversations with people every day. I never had that before. I had conversations with people, but they're all quick, like quick. I get to have really intimate. It just crushes the learning curve of things when you can have intimate conversations with people. Actually,
I just want to give. This reminds me, right off the clip of Curve Finance. Curve Finance is basically DOS 1995 in terms of the design. Like it's like intimidating to use because it is.
Yeah, this screams like if you don't have a degree of some sort, like get out of here.
Like they need 2.0.
Put some bunnies or like a gorilla somewhere, like a big gorilla on steroids in the back, or like a nice dude drinking a beer in the back with girls on the beach, like something like that, just to make people think like it's a fun place to be, like, please God, like this just feels like, oh my God, I could make a very large financial mistake right here. That's exactly what this is.
Yes.
But it's really exactly the opposite. Like it's the exact tool. And that's why me and Sam reiterate over and over again, we need builders. We need people that know what the fuck they're doing. I know what the fuck I'm doing when it comes to looking and thinking. I don't know how to build shit. I don't know how to do any of that. We need to all get together, because I have a lot of ideas and I know how to make things look dope. This looks stupid. And I'm not saying it could just be a little different and look better too, or a lot different.
Updating the look of this, even though you could keep everything the same, it's still going to operate the same, but updating the look and feel will make a big difference. And whoever's behind it, if they're earning like a VIG or a little bit on every transaction as it goes through, I'm assuming that's probably how it works, then updating it so that people are not as intimidated to use this because it looks like you're going to make a mistake and you're just going to lose your money type of thing, then you will actually increase the number of people using this protocol, which means that the people behind it would make more money if they updated it. You know what I mean? Like, just simple. Okay, let's get into this video here.
Yeah, sometimes though, I'm learning like they just don't care because it works, and the people that are using it and they have a lot of volume, and they're just like, fuck it. They literally just call it fuck it. Like they're just like, fuck it. Like Richard Hart's are using it, people are using it, like good enough guys, let's go to the beach. Like, and it's like this whole anonymous thing, so who knows who the fuck these guys are. Like I'm sure their security is pretty good.
True. Very good.
Can you hear this or no?
No, turn it up a little bit.
Now this account may belong to you, or
You can hear?
it may belong to someone else.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
I'm going to start it over just for the fresh start. How to use Tornado Cash, DeFi plus zero knowledge of proof.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Tornado Cash. Let's say that you send 100 Ether to another account. Now, this account may belong to you, or it may be
Oops, it's muted.
on the blockchain. So
there it is.
everyone in the whole row knows that the receiving account just received 100 Ether. Now, if this receiving account also belongs to you, and someone else knows that this receiving account belongs to you, then that person can conclude that you still have 100 Ether. In the same way, if you send 100 Ether to Bob and Bob's address is known, then everyone in the whole row knows that Bob has 100 Ether now. But using Tornado Cash, we can break this link between the sender and the receiver. On the address of the receiver, it is virtually impossible to link back to the sender. Meaning, if I send 100 Ether to myself using Tornado Cash, then no one in the whole world will be able to trace that I just sent 100 Ether to myself. Likewise, if I use Tornado Cash to send 100 Ether to Bob, then you can see that I deposited 100 Ether to Tornado Cash, and you'll also be able to see that 100 Ether was transferred over to Bob. But what you won't be able to see is the link from me to Bob. So let's take a look at how to use Tornado Cash. In this video, I'm going to be using the Gordy testnet. To deposit, there are several options to deposit 0.1 ETH, 1 ETH, 10 ETH, or 100 ETH. I'm going to select 1 ETH and then click deposit. This will show a pop-up to save a file. This is a secret file that you're going to need in order to withdraw from Tornado Cash. So save this file in a secure place and don't reveal it to anyone else. So I'm going to hit save. Once the file is saved and I backed up the file, I'm going to click on this checkbox saying that I backed up the secret file and then hit send deposit. This will open my MetaMask, so I'm going to hit confirm and wait for the transaction to be confirmed. Once the transaction is confirmed, the next step is to withdraw. However, you shouldn't withdraw right away. Well, let's imagine that everyone's depositing into Tornado Cash. Over the last month, no one has withdrawn. And all of a sudden, there's a transaction to deposit and then withdraw immediately. Although there's no link between the depositor and the withdrawer, it is very likely that the person who deposited and the person who withdrew are the same person. So to increase anonymity, you probably want to wait a few days after you deposit before you withdraw. Okay, so let's say that the Tornado Cash deposit and withdrawal has been active. You waited a few days and now you want to withdraw. How do you do it? So I'm good.
Is the audio fucked up?
It is. It's a little off.
I'm sorry, guys. Let me just switch my monitors. I was practicing with my other monitor and I assumed it was going through. I just got to swap it over. Boop, done. That's
Cool.
annoying. Sorry about that, guys.
It was slightly off, but we could. It was a little hard to understand. It was, yeah.
It was wrecked.
It was like speaking into a wet microphone that was in the toilet, but it's okay. We got it figured out now. We hopefully have a much better audio right now.
Oh God! Stop. Share. Microsoft Edge.
This Bobby Davis. This is very, very similar. Hurricatch is actually a copy of.
Yeah,
Tornado
Hurricatch is Tornado Cash is Hurricatch. No, Hurricatch is Tornado Cash. Tornado Cash is the only thing that's out right now. That's
Two
popular.
different networks, but yes, same thing.
Hurricatch is not work yet, does it?
Pulse Chain versus Ethereum. That's all.
Is it popped up?
It is popped up, and let's get into this.
I'm going to click on the withdrawal tab. And now I need to reveal the secret that I've stored and set the recipient address. I've opened a notepad that reveals the secret. So I'm going to copy all of this and then paste it in here. And then for the recipient address, I'm going to pick a different address from the depositor. I've opened the MetaMask and then copy the different address from the current wallet. And then I'm going to paste it in here. And then I'm going to hit withdraw to send the 1 Ether from Tornado Cash over to this address without revealing that this 1 Ether was actually sent from this wallet. Okay, so I'm going to hit withdraw. You'll see a pop-up saying ZK Snark proof has been successfully generated. What this means is that we've created a cryptographic proof that we deposited 1 Ether into Tornado Cash. and this proof does not reveal any information about the depositor. So I'm going to hit confirm to actually send the transaction to withdraw. The transaction was successful. Let's take a look at Etherscan. Inside Etherscan, you can see here that I deposited 1 Ether into Tornado Cash. This is the sender account, and the last transaction was deposit into Tornado Cash. There's no transaction that says I've sent 1 Ether to my other account. On the receiving account, you can see that this account has 1.87 Ether. This is because I tested Tornado Cash twice, and each time it sent me around 0.9 Ether. If you look at the last transaction, you'll see that I received 0.97 ETH. And if I click on the address of the sender, you can see some list of transactions, but none of these will link back to my sender account. So that's how you use Tornado Cash to break the link between the sender.
That's how we like it. That's how we like it. You
So
can't.
it's a 10% fee. It sounds like to actually go through and use.
Is that how much the fee was, or roughly after everything?
He said
he saw the 0.92. 0.92 and 0.9 something else. I didn't know if that was because that's how much he put in. Did he mention that he put in exactly 1 Ether?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, but I guess it's part of the cost of doing that.
Doing business, baby. Hey, would you like to have all of your stuff on an account where no one could trace it? Maybe that's worth 5% to you, 7%, 8%, depending on the rates. And who knows, that could be up or down fluctuating. I got to look at why those rates go up and down. We have another video, though, that explains it a little bit differently.
Because there's a relay.
So this one actually explains Tornado Cash. I wanted to show that one first because, you got to look through that at least once, let people know it's just very simple, right? Like the whole point of this is that just like you stake in Hex, you Tornado Cash send. It's not difficult. It's very easy. It might seem difficult from some imaginary fairy tale land that people live in, but it's not. Providing liquidity is in the exact same boat. It might seem confusing to people that are in fairy tale retard land. Sorry about the R. Sorry about the word. Never say it again. But it's not. It's actually just a few clicks.
Bro. Just fuck with you.
Damn it. Anyway, sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. So everybody, let's go into
that's it. But the point was, before I completely interrupted you and threw you off track, was that shit is really not that challenging. Once you just go in there and check it out a couple of times, like it's pretty self-explanatory. Whether it is Hex, right? The first time you learned about Hex, you're like, oh my god, this is crazy shit. This doesn't make any sense. First time you learned about liquidity providing, you're like, oh my god, this stuff doesn't make any sense. How does this work? Impermanent loss, I'm gonna lose all my fucking tokens, right? And the same thing with Tornado Cash. Like all this stuff is relative.
And then they buy into that narrative to just like pitch it because it's easy. Like it's easy to say shit's hard to do, so just don't do it.
Correct.
It's like, oh yeah, it's easy. Don't provide liquidity ever. Oh, wow. Life sucks. Why can't I do that? Just because imagine,
Tornado Cash protects,
especially when you're in the two assets. Like even if they support both assets, they don't want you to do it. So like
Correct.
that's like it's like, oh, so what if you like both assets? Well, it's too dangerous because there's other shit. I'm like, well, there's other ZRC20s that you stake with.
Yes. Like what are these other risks?
Sends 100 Ether to another address. This transaction is recorded on the blockchain. Because data on blockchain is public data, everyone in the whole world now knows that this address, 0xB1B1B1, now has 100 Ether. Now, if people know that this 0xB1B1B1 address also belongs to Alice, then people around the world can conclude that Alice still has 100 Ether. Likewise, if this receiver address belongs to Bob, then everyone in the whole world knows that Bob now has 100 Ether. So how does Tornado Cash protect privacy? How is it able to hide the link from the sender to the receiver? First, let's take a look at how deposit works in Tornado Cash. Before she deposits into Tornado Cash, she'll have to pick 2 random numbers, a secret and a nullifier. And then she computes the hash of these 2 random numbers. To deposit into Tornado Cash, she'll send the 1 Ether and the hash of the secret and the nullifier. Here we'll say it is 0x123. The Ether gets docked in Tornado Cash contract, And this hash, called the commitment, is also recorded into the smart contract. This hash is later going to be used to withdraw this 1 Ether from Tornado Cash. Users are always depositing and withdrawing from Tornado Cash. Here we say that Charlie the cat also deposits 1 Ether, and his hash is 0x456. The Ether gets locked into Tornado Cash, and the hash 0x456 is also recorded. Bob the bear also does the same, send 1 Ether, and his hash is 0x789. Ether gets locked, and his hash 0x789 is also recorded into the smart contract. You might have noticed that Alice, Bob, and Charlie all deposited 1 Ether. Why is it that everyone is depositing 1 Ether? Why can't Alice deposit 2 Ether, and Bob deposit 3 Ether, and Charlie deposit 100 Ether? To answer this question, let's imagine that Alice has 100 Ether, Bob has 1 Ether, and Charlie has 1 Ether. And they all deposit into Tornado Cash. Later, an anonymous user comes along and withdraws 100 Ether. We know that the only person that deposited 100 Ether was Alice, so we can conclude that Alice still has 100 Ether. So to increase anonymity, everyone has to send the same amount of Ether into Tornado Cash. This way, there is no one user that stands out from the rest of the crowd. So that is why everyone has to deposit the same amount of Ether. So now let's see how withdrawal works in Tornado Cash. First, I'll explain how it's done incorrectly. We'll first withdraw in a way that reveals the identity of the withdrawer. And then we'll see how to fix this problem so that the identity of the withdrawer is not revealed. So the wrong way to withdraw is that the withdrawer reveals the secret and the nullifier. The smart contract checks that the hash of the secret and the nullifier is equal to 0x123, and this hash 0x123 is recorded into the Tornado Cash smart contract. If it is, then Tornado Cash will send the 1 Ether back to the caller. But in this process, it reveals the identity of the person who withdrew. How is it that the identity of the withdrawal is revealed? Let's take a look. Well, we know that Alice deposited with a hash 0x123. Later on, an anonymous user came along and revealed a secret and a nullifier, such that the hash of the secret and the nullifier is equal to 0x123. But because the hash function is a one-way function, this means that the only person that knows the secret and the nullifier that hashes to 0x123 is Alice. This is how the identity of the user is revealed on withdrawal. So how can we fix this problem? Well, we know that revealing the secret and the nullifier reveals the identity of the withdrawer. If somehow there is a way to prove that I know a secret and a nullifier such that the hash of the secret and the nullifier is recorded onto the Tornado Cash smart contract without revealing the actual secret and the nullifier. So the anonymous user will send a proof that say I know a secret and a nullifier such that the hash of the secret and the nullifier is recorded onto the Tornado Cash smart contract. And this proof does not reveal the actual secret and the nullifier. This means that the anonymous user will stay anonymous. The smart contract verifies that the proof is valid, but it wouldn't know if the proof is for 0x123, 0x456, or 0x789. In other words, the proof does not reveal the identity of the anonymous user. This is called zero-knowledge proof. Being able to prove that you know some information without revealing anything about the actual information. The math behind zero-knowledge proof used by Tornado Cash is called zk-snark. Now notice that when we deposit and when we withdraw, we select two random numbers, the secret and the nullifier. What is this nullifier and what does it do? When an anonymous user withdraws from Tornado Cash doesn't know who is withdrawing. The withdrawer can be Alice, Bob the bear, or Charlie the cat. Tornado Cash doesn't know who is withdrawing. This means that Tornado Cash cannot keep track of who has withdrawn their deposits. So a clever hacker would say, okay, Tornado Cash doesn't know who withdrew. So what I'm going to try to do is deposit once and then withdraw multiple times. The hacker sends a proof to withdraw. The proof checks out and the hacker gets 1 Ether. The hacker sends the same proof again and then withdraw 1 ETH again. In total, the hacker deposited 1 Ether, but he was able to withdraw 2 Ether. To prevent this double spend, meaning that you deposited once but you can withdraw multiple times, when you send the proof to withdraw, you'll also have to submit the hash of the nullifier. And inside the proof of the ZK snark, it would check two things. It would check that the hash of the secret and the nullifier is recorded on the tornado cache, and it will also check that the hash of the nullifier is equal to the nullifier. Once the proof checks out, Tornado Cache records that the hash of the nullifier has been spent. The anonymous user gets the 1 ether back, and if this same user tried to withdraw again using the same proof, then it will fail because the hash of the nullifier has already been spent, and it's recorded on the Tornado Cache smart contract. So that is the purpose of the nullifier, to prevent double spending. Now let's see how Tornado Cache records the hash that is provided by the user when they deposit. The way the hash is recorded in Tornado Cache is by Merkle tree. Actually, Merkle tree looks like an upside down tree. The very top is called the root, and the very bottom elements are called the leaf. Let's quickly go over how a Merkle tree is built. We start with an array where each element is a hash of some data. We take the first two elements and compute their hash. We take the next two elements and also compute their hash. We continue this process until all elements has been hashed. Once the bottom elements has been paired together and then hashed, we do the same again. So we take the pair of hashes and then hash them again, and then do the same for the next two hashes. We continue this process until there is only one hash. This is called the Merkle root. In Tornado Cache, the Merkle tree is initialized like this. On the very bottom, so each leaf is a Ketchak 256 hash of the string tornado. To show how insertion works in the Merkle tree of the Tornado Cache, this is going to get messy, so I'm going to relabel these hashes. We'll say that the very bottom hash is Z0. On the next level, they're all named Z1. And on the next level, they're named Z2. Since the tree has 3 levels, we'll refer to the Merkle root as Z3. This is level 0, this is level 1, this is level 2, and this is level 3. Okay, so let's see how to insert into the Tornado Merkle tree. Before anyone deposits, this is the Merkle tree of the Tornado Cache. We'll say that the first person to deposit selected a secret, we'll name it S0, and the nullifier N0, hash it together, and come up with a commitment named C0. When the first user deposits, the commitment, so the hash of the secret and the nullifier of that user, is inserted as a first element of the array. So we'll need to update the hash above. And once that's done, we'll also need to update the hash above it. And then finally, we'll need to update the hash of the Merkle root. And that is what the Merkle tree will look like when the first user deposits. Let's take a look at how the Merkle tree will change when the second user deposits. So the second user will come up with a secret, we'll name it S1, and a nullifier, we'll name it N1. And the hash of S1 and N1, we'll name it C1. C1 is inserted into the next available opening, which is right next to C0. So we'll need to recompute the hash above, and then at level 2, we'll need to recompute the hash. And finally, we'll need to recompute the Merkle root. This is how the Merkle root will change when the third user deposits. So we insert C3 over here, and this will update the hash over here, and update the hash over here, and finally the Merkle root over here. And likewise for C4, it will update the hash over here, the hash over here, and the hash over here. This is what the Merkle tree will look like when the 5th user deposits, and the 6th, and so on. So that is how Merkle tree insertion works in Tornado Cache. So once our hash is recorded into the Tornado Cache Merkle tree, how do we prove that our commitment, so the hash of our secret and the nullifier, is in the Merkle tree? Let's say that our hash is C3 and we want to prove to Tornado Cache that our hash is recorded into this Merkle tree. How do we do it? The basic idea is that we'll need to provide a list of hash, and when we hash them together, it will match the Merkle root hash. So starting from C3, we'll need to provide C2, and having these two hashes, we can recompute this hash. We'll need to provide this hash, and having these two hashes, we can recompute this hash. And finally, if we provide this hash, then we can recompute the Merkle root. So these are the list of hashes that we will need to provide in order to prove that C3 is recorded into the Merkle root. C3, C2, and this hash over here, and this hash over here. And if we provide the correct hashes, then it should match the Merkle root of the tornado cache. This proof is fed into GK snarks, and the GK snark will generate the zero knowledge proof, meaning that we are proving that C3 is in the Merkle tree of tornado cache without actually revealing our hash C3. So once we have the proof, we send it over to tornado cache. And if the proof checks out, meaning that we are able to construct the correct Merkle root of tornado cache, then we are able to withdraw the 1 ether. I was surprised to find out that ZK Snark is already available in Solidity. Let me explain how the smart contracts of Tornado Cache are built. The Tornado Cache smart contract has 3 distinctive parts. The part that manages ETH going in and going out, the Merkle tree that keeps track of the deposit hashes, and the GK Snark verifier contract that verifies that the withdrawer has a valid proof for the Merkle tree. This GK Snark verifier smart contract is built using 2 tools. The first library is called Circum, and using this library, what's called the arithmetic circuit is written. This arithmetic circuit contains logic to prove that a hash is included in this Merkle tree. Now, once this arithmetic circuit is written,
it's on the slightly technical side.
That's
but
right.
very
That's right
interesting.
around 7.1 rewatches for me to probably understand that. At the end, like, you know, because you just have to work through it one by one just so you know each piece. Because again, these are just words. They're not complicated, but the words are not user friendly. So like they're not going to be like rhyming with your favorite rap song. You know what I mean? It's going to be like friggin' arithmetic circuits is the last part they were just getting into. So these are words you have to learn, but they're not complicated words. Okay. Just understand that every time you think to yourself, oh boy, what a complicated concept. There is no complicated concepts. They're just one by one understanding what the fuck is going on. Some people understand it. Some people don't. The people that continue to learn will understand it. The people that don't rely on their own brains to freaking function, they'll just listen to other people.
Hey, Bane, if people want to, I can send a Ethereum address, or GRC can.
We
down
did
below.
that. That was the first guy. Literally did a transaction on there.
Yeah, but going through it ourselves is going to be different than watching a video on it. So if somebody wants to,
Well, when I do it, I'm deploying friggin'. I'm getting all my shit moved. So it's gonna be like a whole hour or so where I'm sitting down and I'm doing it. Like I'm gonna send everything away. I don't want to have it. I mean, my stakes are where they're at, but in my future funds will all be on accounts where I must not have people pull them up telling me I'm a piece of shit in 5 years because I sold 5% of my bags, because I fucking hate that shit. I think it's the dumbest baloney. If I ever hear someone mention someone else selling their bags and that has something to do with their personality near me, I might slap them. Seriously, because it's stupid. If you have money in a financial asset and you take it out and you got a premium on that, you're the GOAT. Okay, you're the man. Great job.
That shit doesn't matter even. Yes, I agree. But from
like
an anonymous
I just wanted
standpoint,
people to know, like, because some people just go along with that shit because they don't think about it. But like, I just hate that shit. So I just don't. And I don't have much money, so it doesn't. I'm just saying from a perspective of, I don't care if he has 100 billion. Like, dude, if you have $100 billion, like, you're the fucking man. So you get to make the moves. Okay. So anyway, that was the point on that. Sam, do you want to pull up, or do you have to go? Do you want to pull up what you had?
let's pull it.
You
Let's
don't
pull it
have
up
to.
quick. Yeah, no, this is good. We'll pull this up quick, and then we'll end in a couple minutes. This is the definition of what a recession is, right? So if you put in Google, what is a recession, and then you press search, the definition that the world sees, right, because Google is the #1 search engine in the planet, is this: a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 successive
So that's what it is now,
quarters.
right?
Correct.
Now that's not switched up.
That is not switched up. So as of the other
When
day,
was that written? Does anyone know when that was written roughly? I mean, maybe the verbiage had changed, but
this is what they were teaching when I was in school. That a recession, this is in textbooks, bro. Like this is in shitloads of textbooks.
This shit's like hard printed, like
all over the place. It's in multiple. It's in the CFA. It's in the CFA, which is the.
See, us new guys to the scene, like we don't even like. I can't even imagine such like stupidity. Like it's like, oh wait, this still exists. Like let me get my fax machine out and figure out what they're getting into over here.
So this came out on the 21st. So if anybody's interested, this is the whitehouse.gov. How do economists determine whether an economy is in a recession? Literally. Okay, so before reading through this first paragraph, so I have, a undergrad degree in finance and economics, a MBA from a top 25 school in the world in finance and accounting, the CFA, which is like the CPA times 10, right? CFA is much more challenging than a CPA with a lot of financial shit in there as well as accounting shit in there. And in all of those places, in multiple different textbooks, how they define economists, the broader fucking world defines a recession is 2 quarters of decline in economic activity measured by GDP. So let's see what the White House has to say, right? This is what the this is what the Biden administration has to say, right? What is a recession? While some maintain that 2 consecutive quarters of falling real GDP constitute recession, yes, everybody in North America who has ever had a finance class that's exactly correct.
So that's like the rule. So right now, because again, I don't know any of this shit. So basically the rule is if there's 2 down quarters in their rates, basically
in output. So they'll measure GDP, which is just like how much the country produces.
So basically there's a certain level, and if it goes under that for 2 months, you are considered at a point of recession.
Yes, 6 months. Yes, correct. 2 quarters, 6 months. Exactly. 100%. It's written in many texts.
So guys, we know that. And I have a feeling, just thinking on my feet here, they're going to somehow tie the inflation rate into the fact that they need to like make this longer or change it somehow, because they're going to say that there's factors that have changed this. Although we've gone 105 years with, it seems like since 31, I think someone wrote at some point that this rule was written or whatever. So let's keep going into it, Sam. I like when you read this shit better because I don't know what the fuck it is.
So let's see. While some maintain that 2 consecutive quarters of falling real GDP constitute a recession, that is neither the official definition nor the way economists evaluate the state of the business cycle. What? This is in every single textbook. Instead, both official determinations of recession and economists' assessment of economic activity are based on a holistic look at the data. That's what a GDP measure is supposed to capture. Duh. According to the labor market, consumer and business spending, industrial production, and incomes. Based on these data, it is unlikely that the decline in GDP in the first quarter of this year, even if followed by another GDP decline in the second quarter, indicates a recession. This is gaslighting at its finest.
What could this possibly do for them? What do they even care at this point? Just so they can not write the word recession? Like, are they just trying to avoid the word?
What happens if I run a company and I create horrible policies that are very, very, very detrimental to that company?
Fuck everything up.
Yeah, but then what if I just change the definition of what the goal is?
The goal is just like it's just mind bending 101. They're just like, oh, guys, you don't worry, this is happening, but we're gonna switch the word that we use.
Yes,
this is all that they're saying, guys. So you just think about this verbiage and like. This is why I don't trust the government and stuff, and it's not that I think they're knocking on people's doors and putting guns in their mouths.
They're putting something else in their shoulders.
They just fleece everyone. Like they're the best con artists in the game. If you got everyone from maximum security prison and somehow made them not break the rules anymore, they would end up as politicians, guaranteed. because it's just the way. It's just like the scumbag lords of manipulation, and they all get together at the end and they're like, well, what are we even doing? And they're like, whatever we want, baby. And they're like, fuck it, let's do it. Because imagine, Sam, if you had all the resources and like no mental framework to care whether shit was good or bad, and you just like, let's say they took you out of prison, you had like and you were just like a scheming motherfucker, and they were like, you just got to learn how to work this system. You could figure, it's not complicated if you get in there. These people just get in there by birth, generally.
Well, I mean, look at the Biden administration that is currently in the office, who has been in office for 50 effing years, and I just don't know a whole lot of that in 50 effing years, other than steal people's money, make backdoor deals, and bribes for his family and his sons. Right? Like, shit needs to change. We need more strong men. We need more strong women who are taking fucking responsibility and calling garbage out like this stuff. It's like, hey, GRC, instead of increasing your income, why don't you try to make less money? Right? You're making X amount of dollars per month. Why don't you try to make less money and not be able to pay your bills and just take out more debt? Because it's not effing fucking sustainable.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing, is literally trying to change the definition.
And I don't even know at this point, like, if people even give a fuck. Like I don't even think the normal, like, if my parents were reading this, and like, I don't think this would affect them much. They would just be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Everything's gone down. I had to sell my, whatever, or whatever they had to do.
Trying to protect the slaughtering that is going to happen, assuming that there's not as much cheating as there was in the 2020 election in midterms. That is what they're trying to do. They're trying to protect the
Is there any chance that dude is back into office? Is there 0%?
Well, he's not up. He's not up, right? So they have a staggered.
Who are they going to get?
It's going to be for the House and the Senate, right? So there's several seats. They have a 6-year term, right? So how it works is every 2 years, like 1/3 of the people come up for election, so that way all in 1 year shit can't flip, right? So every 6 years, right? Then that same person could come up for election again. I believe the House is similar, but it might be 4 years or something like that. And then every 2 years it's flipping. So we have a midterm. There's going to be a bloodbath on the Democrat side because they're making horrible, garbage decisions around policy, right? I'm not saying that they're horrible, garbage people, which it might be, but they're making horrible, garbage decisions around policy that affect real people's lives.
Self-serving, short-term decision-making.
Rug pull.
It's just a rug pull, guys. They're rug pulling before they get out of office, see what they can scrap, see how much Mr. Biden's son can crack smoke in the bathroom or whatever the fuck's going on. See, like, fucking trannies and videotaping himself and sending them everywhere, smoking crack. Like, and it's just the fact that this dude's even alive right now. His son is in clear peril. I mean, like, can we think about this from like a different perspective? Like, imagine if your son was just like a smoking crack with like a fuck ton of money and running around the world.
And 45 years old, 50 years old, however old he is.
And he's pretending like he can just run the office fine. Like, everything's cool. Like, this dude's about to die. I don't know what blood that they're stealing from little freaking embryos to keep this motherfucker alive, but it's a joke. I mean, it's a joke. The people that support anything that comes out of the media outlets in his favor are a joke. They're a joke. They're a joke. If you're listening to this and you think that you are right being liberal and loving Biden and all the bullshit that they feed you, you're fucking stupid. You are fucking stupid. I'm sorry. It's disgusting. I'm not saying that the other way's right. I'm not saying that I don't know shit about Donald Trump. I don't fucking like any of that stuff. But to just believe that this old geezer with the crackhead son, who's absolutely out of control, with bribes all over the place, emails, and they can just do whatever they want. They can kill whoever they want. This is the reality. They can freaking off people, and they will, and they do. And that's part of life. That's normal. Like, that happens in every power structure in the world.
If people are naive to the fact that doesn't happen, because they don't know that it happens. They don't see that in gangs and shit. This stuff happens
It's the
regularly.
same. It is a gang.
Correct. It's just I
rules.
hire you to do the dirty work for me instead of it just being like,
gangs do the same thing. They got guys that they hire for that shit. They don't fucking do it. They'd be in jail. They have professionals do it.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's crazy when you really think about it. It's like these are professional gang members. Literally, they steal, they rob, they tax you, but they're just smart enough they said, why don't we just make the rule book too? They're like, why don't we just do everything? Why don't Did I lose it?
I don't know if that was you or me, but I'm back. You're back. I think we're still here.
Well, anyway, yeah, that's exactly why cryptocurrency was invented, to eliminate middlemen. I don't care about if people can, if you think anything about me and the way that I think about politics, you're an idiot, because I don't care about politics. I just care about power structures, immutability, and how can I escape the reality that I don't want to be working until I'm 70. I don't give a shit about Ukraine. I don't give a shit about Russia because I don't know shit about that stuff. Okay. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know what the fuck people are going through over there. People have been getting killed and murdered and lynched for the entirety of this lifespan that I've been alive, from on the news. It's been every day on the news since I was a kid. And in the area I'm in, it's normal. It's just, as reality sinks in more, and again, I don't care about I don't feel it, this has nothing to do with me morally, and I don't want people to get that twisted either. I'm not like some moral crazy like voodoo, like I want everyone to live, but just like you said, how they said, why don't we just make the rules? Now I'm just doing the same thing. I'm like, why don't I just provide enough value to people where they just like my channel? Like, I just make the rules now, but you can do it in a good way, you can do it in an evil way, but if you give someone that much power, things are going to get sideways. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's you. And you have to start understanding that too. These are normal human reactions to power, mass power. And they happen in cycles, don't they, Sam? Like, it's just a cycling effect. Too much power, everyone revolts. Too much power, they get not enough people, everyone else revolts. There's too much power.
We're at that point now where there's people waking up, right? So what does that mean when I say waking up? There's more people today that have taken responsibility for their lives, right? And utter responsibility, not making excuses for how they're living their life. Why don't they have enough money? Why don't they have the relationship what they want? Why don't they have the physique that they want? Why don't they have the lifestyle that they want? There's more people waking up to the reality that is not anybody else's effing responsibility, but their own responsibility. And what happens as more and more people wake up to this is what you're talking about, where you have that revolt of smart, hardworking, intelligent, thoughtful people that are taking responsibility for their life to move things forward in a much better way. There's that.
You gotta give them a value. You gotta give them the value prop. They have to at least have the value prop on the table for those people. And it's still available, but it's getting harder and harder to get a hold of. That's why, like, those young kids that they just go into a gang because they just think of the value prop. They're like, well, I'm probably going to be broke my whole life anyway. Well, my parents are already smoking crack. Well, these guys are going to give me money right now, and I'm going to have a bunch of friends. And it's like their value prop is money, because they have a faster way to get money from doing that than to doing shit in the dumbass backwards fucking go to school for 12 years. Nobody's doing that shit. And it doesn't make sense. They're just like, well, if I'm going to make it, I'm going to. And now they're having too many people that are feeling that way, Sam. And these you can't even go to West Side Chicago anymore. You can't even go to certain places because gang members rule the city. You can't enter the city. You cannot enter their little freaking hoods. The cops don't even go up in there. They just fucking sit around it. It's like there's getting to be too many people that are too desperate, and they're starting to think, and they're starting to push, and they're starting to, oh, we have these fucking guns. Wait, we all go to jail for smoking weed anyway for the rest of our lives. Why don't we just put bullets in people and see what the fuck happens? Because we're going to jail anyway. I always tell people the story when I was at Jimmy John's, my supervisor went to jail for 2 full years for 2 grams of marijuana.
Wow.
I would have rather he was 23 years old. He had 1 kid. He was a black fella. He was a nice kid, as far as I knew. I didn't know shit, but like 2 full years.
2 grams is like how much? Because I don't smoke.
It's
weed,
like an amount your mother would buy if she wanted to toke up for like the weekend. Literally,
very
like the
small
smallest
amount,
amount, like the smallest amount. That would be like $20 street value. But it was in 2 separate bags, and they got him for felony distribution.
Fuck.
And that was like when I was 19, so that would have been like almost 10 years ago now, or whatever. So anyway, my last statement I'm going to say is, I'm not saying that I want to save the world for these moral reasons. I'm saying that my only pathway to victory is to do something impactful. Period. And I don't have any other pathways. There's no girl I'm going to date that's going to make me happy just from dating them. There's no thing I'm going to
do it for yourself.
I got to do it for myself. It's just like I got to see what's going to happen, and this is a legal way to do it. So I would rather be legal.
Yeah. Let's take it out of here with some
DeFi proof. Biceps in the chat for DeFi proof. If you like the episode, please like, please subscribe, please retweet, please tell everyone you know. Please send me all your money. Let's go.
Young folks, you dripping on them motherfucker.
Rich at heart. Rich at heart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. .1 everything we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the hex, he is mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pro chains out, now get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and